Cancer sun, I feel what you don't say. Scorpio moon, I see through the gray. I'm tuned to your soul, I read the unseen. 8th house mind, 12th house dreams. Tarot in my hands, planets in my sight. I decode the dark, turn shadow to light. Every chart's a mirror, every transit a sign. The past, the now, the future, all intertwined. I'm here for your healing, your truth, your rebirth. Reading your stars, reminding your worth. Danyell, your favorite tarot reader, astrologer divine, reading the natal chart, breaking down the signs, seeing light.
Hello, welcome. It is me, Danyell Carmelita, your favorite tarot reader and astrologer. Today we are diving into some major end of November transits. Now, on the weekend, Saturday or Sunday, I'll do a live video. Hopefully, Monday is December 1st, and we will do the transits of December. And then we're going to do predictions of next year. Okay. So, but we'll talk about what we have coming up at the end of this week. Well, at the end of November, we have Venus entering Sagittarius. Mercury is going to station direct. And then we're going to wrap some stuff up with some karmic completions, breakthroughs, and emotional awakenings. If you've been feeling a shift with the talk of the power of the tongue. That's that Mercury retrograding in Scorpio. Maybe some shifts in your body, your mind, your spirit. You are not imagining it. Okay, we're going to talk about it. Also, love life, money, energy, all that is coming up in this video. So I'm going to tell you the dates. I usually have it plastered, but I am rushing. I host Thanksgiving. If you didn't know, I have Venus in Gemini in the 7th house, and I also have it at 29 degrees. Hosting is one of the things that I love to do, and I love to multitask, and I think I can do it all. Okay. And I'm all about the details of hosting and aesthetics and looking pretty. I'm thinking about my hair. I'm thinking about my family's outfits and entertaining my guests. So I love hosting Thanksgiving. Anyway, but the dates for oh wait, that explains why I have on a workout clothes. I was cooking all last night and well, last night, and organizing a lot of stuff and no makeup because the day continues for the prep of Thanksgiving. So if you guys are not from America, I hope you're enjoying your fall and wrapping it up soon. So November 26th, we have Venus. It enters a water trine. At the same time, it is going to have a kite. We'll talk about that, but that happens November 26th. On the 27th, we have Saturn stations direct in Pisces. On the 29th, we have Mercury stations direct in Scorpio, and then Venus will enter that kite officially at 29 degrees. And 29 degrees is very important. On the 30th of November, we have Venus entering Sagittarius. And also in this video, I'm going to talk about Thanksgiving, if you are hosting or celebrating and what that means. But if you guys love astrology and breakdowns of astrology, if you love my tarot insights and the way I connect the dots between daily transits and real life and my predictions, okay, check out, I do my monthly predictions of Trump. I do a lot of political predictions as well. And yeah, some of the content does not go public. And if you want some more, join my private community. It's called Danny Astro Tarot Elite Club. You get daily tarot readings, weekly tarot readings, extended readings, bonus videos, early access to things, monthly predictions. I break down every month the predictions on what's a good day for money, relationships, business ventures. I do all that in my private community. And also a lot of kitchen talk for our predictions, like breaking down Elon Musk, surveillance, what that's going to look like in the future. A lot of conspiracy theories, if you're into that, connected to astrology. That's all behind the scenes. But if you're like, it's just a cup of coffee. A cup of coffee is like $10 nowadays. But if you're not into that, then go ahead and join my newsletter. It is completely free. I give you the weekly transits every week, even if I'm sick. And also, I give you some bonus tips of certain planets. So, like if Mercury is retrograding or Venus is going into Sagittarius, I give you some bonus tips. Sometimes I even pull tarot in there. Okay. So now let's start with November 26th. The overall vibe, which is today, it's going to bring emotional clarity. There's commitment. Let me bring up the chart actually, before I just spin off on my notes here. Okay, so let me see, November 26th. Okay, so overall, we have some emotional clarity, we have some commitment, some blessings. Um, that will grow over time. Okay. Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, all that is involved here with this trine. Venus is the star. It is conjunct Mercury. So, a lot of intense conversations about relationships and partnerships and harmony and balance. Maybe even some stuff dealing with law and dealing with money that you owe, or logistics, as far as like a partnership and shared income that could be happening. This is reversing, so it's actually going away, but this is what you guys were experiencing before, and I discussed that. But on this day, far as relationships, money decisions, emotional maturity, and spiritual grounding, we're dealing with a water trine. So we have Scorpio, we have Jupiter retrograding in Cancer, and then we have this Pisces energy here. All of this is connected and it's making a water trine. We do have this starting of a kite, though, and that is dealing with Uranus retrograding in Taurus. Okay. But if we're just talking about the trine, we're ignoring Uranus retrograding in Taurus. Okay. Then we are talking about karmic, because you're dealing with this Saturn aspect here. Neptune is the compassion, the love. It could also be dealing, well, it's positive. So compassion, love, forgiveness, releasing and being serious with your karma, a spiritual energy for sure, your intuition. Maybe there's past life things, maybe there's emotional healing. Yeah, maybe something ancestral. Something dealing with a mentor or someone older, all that is very positive. Now, when you have the Venus and Scorpio trining this Jupiter alone, you're deepening your relationships with honesty and emotional intensity. Maybe there's discussion of the past and emotions and getting some deep psychology behind that. Reconnecting with family and healing past wounds, financial blessings from your past efforts, and returning opportunity in love and money, what you naturally attract. That's what that Venus represents. And this is dealing with some money. This is dealing with something, also a rebirth of some sort, a transition, again, therapy. Feeling guided or protected by a higher force. Now, when Venus is trining Saturn, which is also conjunct Neptune's, they're kind of one, okay? But you're having real conversations about the future, relationships, and having a reality of relationships or what money looks like long term. Healthy boundaries, past life karmic connections. Saturn represents the father of time. It represents your karma. It represents lessons. It represents the hard work you put in to think about the long term. Now you have in conjunct that Neptune. That Neptune is going to add the compassion, the love, the intuition, the spiritual guidance. Also to that Neptune right there sitting next to that Saturn, what that looks like is, imaginary borders, right? Or borders you cannot see. And maybe you're letting down that wall to be more open and loving and compassionate. But this Venus added is making you serious about money or business decisions. Maybe there's some spiritual discipline when it comes to prayer, meditation, journaling, and you're adding it to make you serious about your balance, your harmony. Okay. Now, this is also dealing with law, this planet, and this planet here is also dealing with law and court systems. So there could be that. But when you have this water trine with the Scorpio, the Cancer, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, you are dealing with emotional rebirth, financial clarity, stable love, intuition that feels like it's guided, healing, softness, and abundance with wisdom. Now, you have that Venus opposing Uranus, and Uranus becomes really important. This is the planet that is like sitting on a stage, and this is where there's going to be a huge disruption. Okay, so all that harmonious flow with the water trine, with your emotions, with relationships, with finances, with your intuition and spiritual guidance. Now there is this Uranus aspect, and it's a release point. Okay, so there's sudden breakthroughs, there's liberation, shocks, some truths that could be revealing something, radical emotional clarity, relationship awakening, some unexpected things with finances. Whenever you're dealing with Taurus and Scorpio access, to me, it's always dealing with money. Now, this opposition is going to make you feel like things are not balanced, and Venus loves a balance, but there's an opposing aspect here, and there needs to be a balance. You got to let things flow. You got to release. You got to expect the unexpected. You got to be okay with something new and something futuristic, something that's very out of the box. Also, too, this could be Uranus is the planet of rebelling. So there could be something about a rebelling or a power to the people, but you're dealing with emotional and practicality, your intuition and reality, healing and action, lessons and change. Um, and that's the most important thing with this. So while you are very harmonious with the water and your emotions, because that's what water represents, your emotions, your intuition, and spirituality, there is this earth energy that's very grounded. It's stubborn. It doesn't want to change, but Uranus makes it change. So it's a change that is like, this was a tradition and now it has to change. And there could be some opposition towards that. Okay, so get ready for that. That is what we're expecting coming up this week from the end of November. Okay, now on the 27th, we have a major energetic shift here. Saturn is going to go direct. It didn't do it yet, so let me see when it goes direct here, the exact time. Okay, here we go. Saturn goes direct around, I'm in California, 8 p.m. So Saturn stationing direct is one of the biggest events, right, towards this month, especially with the water sign in Pisces. You're talking about Saturn was talking about we working boundaries. Saturn represents the government, restrictions. It represents limitations. It represents the CEO and corporations. Pisces represents all those conspiracy theories. So I've been having fun behind the paywall with all the conspiracy theories, but reassessing responsibilities, spiritual detoxing, being serious about the kind of music you're listening to, and is it toxic? Pisces represents that toxic energy. Restrictions are being serious about addiction or alcohol or porn. If that's been happening, that is that retrograde saying like, come on, wake up. There's some problems here. You need to redo some steps, or you have to be more serious about this, or you're not being serious. So now look what happens. Now when it goes direct, these things start to change. So confronting the illusions, dealing with emotional fatigue, dissolving old structures, and facing karmic lessons. What are the lessons that you learn? Because Saturn is here to teach you. Well, now Saturn is going direct. So there's clarity, there's discipline, there's spiritual maturity, there's karmic payoff, there's stability, accountability, thinking long term, having the Father teaching you the lessons. Emotional mastery is what you get. So what I learned internally, and now I have to apply it externally. Okay, you've been in the fog, you've been in la la land, and you haven't been serious. Now is the time that all that will change, okay? So karmic lessons become more clear, spiritual and emotional boundaries start to strengthen, creative projects, because that Pisces energy does represent creativity. And now you're thinking long term, or now you're being disciplined with that, or now you're adding some structure. I love Pisces because it doesn't really like to use words. It likes to use feelings and emotions and your intuition. And now you're like, you know what? No, this is not Delulu energy. This is serious. And I know what I'm feeling. And I've been practicing it. I've been working hard at it. And now I have a plan. I have a schedule. I'm commitment. There's a commitment, or there's discipline, or this is someone going to church, or practicing a religion and being really serious. Delays around work, health, and responsibilities, that starts to lift. When you have retrogrades, things start to slow down. Things are not working how they should. The government is acting up and the secrets come out. But now, you'll notice momentum is returning about restrictions and seriousness, and details and planning. I like Saturn because it likes to teach lessons. You know, Saturn return, I need to do a video on that alone. But if you are open to the lessons and learn the lessons, so Saturn return really works. This is about long-term spiritual shifts, and Saturn turning direct helps you anchor things into reality, especially with anything dealing with Pisces. Like I said, releasing, forgiving, the ending, things that are very dark, and you can't quite see them, the fog. all that starts to become more serious, or you're very grounded with that energy. Now we still have Neptune retrograding at 29 degrees, not yet retrograding at 29 degrees in Pisces. And when you have this retrograding at 29 degrees in Pisces, you do have this energy of conspiracy theories, and there's a rush to it, or there's a rush to releasing what is lost and hidden. So still the things that are very secretive, I think of that Jeffrey Epstein kind of energy, or assassinations, or anything that was in the dark. We still have a lot of releasing. These are, when you look at X, or when you look at Twitter, or when you hear someone and they say that a secret, when Saturn is not Saturn, when Neptune is retrograding in Pisces, those secrets are actually honest. Okay. So you may think they're conspiracy theories, but there is an awareness here, especially at 29 degrees. So I would be aware of anything that seems like a conspiracy theory. Go off of your intuition. The intuition may be a little lost right now. Saturn is making you being like, no, pay attention. This is serious. So we'll start to see how that goes, and pay attention to the government. Now, if we talk about Thanksgiving, which is on the 27th, then you have Saturn going direct, right? You have Mercury retrograding in Scorpio. And you also have this wide conjunction with Mercury conjunct Venus. And the reason why I talk about Venus when you're dealing with any type of social energy is because you are talking about Venus is the planet of socializing. So if you're going around a family, if you're going around Friendsgiving, or any type of social event, family dynamics, there's emotional truth, there's karmic clarity, there's old conversations that could be resurfacing. Mercury retrograding in Scorpio likes to have some intense conversations and some deep healing energy. So be aware of that. Thanksgiving is not going to be superficial. It's going to be soulful. It's going to be real. It's going to be revealing. And karmic always with Saturn going direct. So a lot of emotional reality checks and grounding, sobering. People who were drunk, the family, the cousins, the uncles. There may be some things dealing with that, but maybe it's a positive because Saturn is going direct. There could be clarifying energy. Yeah. Let me see what else. Generational healing too. You have that now. Mercury retrograding in Scorpio. Old conversations, secret money that you owe. Okay, if you owe some money with a family member, that's going to be discussed. Deep emotions, old wounds, unspoken truths, past conflicts, emotional patterns. If you are a Scorpio, okay, this is dealing with you. You already been dealing with, but if you have some planets dealing with Scorpio energy, if you have some planets dealing with Taurus energy in the late degrees, 20 degrees and late, then this is going to be affecting you during Thanksgiving. Also, to any planets dealing with fixed signs. So the Aquarius, but in the late 20 degrees. Also to Leo in the late 20 degrees. All this is going to affect you in the negative. And I shouldn't say negative because I hate to say that, but there will be a challenge here for sure. Okay. So just be prepared and try to not start conflicts, or just be aware that this change that you don't want, because that's what fixed signs don't like. They don't like change, but just know these change in conversations may bring some healing here, especially for some emotional balance, or dealing with your relationships of some sort. Also, too, we can throw in aesthetics, beauty. There could be a lot of discussions with that. Now, on a positive note, if you are dealing with water signs, if you got late planets in a water signs, energy is going to be positive, but still expect something unexpected here, because we have this sitting here. It's opposing these two planets. So something unexpected, something out of the box, and there's a balance, but I would say talk it out. Think before you speak. You're probably trying to avoid something that's deep, that's intense, but that could be coming back. That Scorpio is dealing with non-surface energy. It likes to be deep. There's some depth. Retrogrades are revisiting, redoing. So emotions, honesty, intensity, healing, raw. All that is dealing with the small talk. Okay. Now, yeah. Okay, now Mercury conjunct at Venus is love, is softness. There's apologies, there's emotional breakthroughs. Maybe there's some heartfelt apologies during Thanksgiving. Maybe there's a meaningful connection, a lot of forgiveness, a lot of deep bonding, a lot of emotional intensity. It makes me think like everyone at Thanksgiving, when there's a big group, it's one way, but then when it starts to get smaller, or you're on, you're having that private conversation in the backyard or by the fireplace, it's more that one-on-one. It's not like in the big circle. Okay. They're going to be like, let's talk about it. Let's heal this. Let's end this. Okay. But you still have that opposition. Okay. So there could be some unexpected news, some secrets being revealed, maybe an announcement that could be like life changing, people crying. That Taurus energy in Uranus, though, is something that you really value. So again, I just think of value, money. If you value money, yeah, that voice. Okay. So yeah, so we have that. Be ready for Thanksgiving. Now, on the 29th of November, we have Mercury after Thanksgiving will go. Oh, it's on the hour. Mercury after Thanksgiving will go direct. Yay! I mean, it still is in the post shadow phase, which lasts about a few weeks, but now it is not retrograding anymore, you guys. Also, too, this is when Venus hits 29 degrees, and now it's really has this opposition with Uranus, and then it really has this kite with the water sign, especially Neptune with the Delulu energy. Anything dealing with 29 degrees is really important. So on this day, if you weren't feeling it before, on the November 29th, which is also the 29th, which is very interesting, but just know that on the 29th of November, there's something big happening and there's this urgency to close it out. 29 degrees means urgency to close it out. Now, if you have any planets in 29 degrees, in your birth chart, 29 degrees is a blessing. It means that you're very mature in this situation with this planet, unless it has bad aspects. But for the most positive part, 29 degrees on a natal chart is positive. When you see it in the sky, there is a constant sense of urgency. Mars was at 29 degrees when LA had the fires. I'm trying to think of another 29 degrees. I should remember them all, but just know that there is this urgency. There's this sense of like moving fast, moving fast, moving fast. And now you have it with Uranus, and what you value are the stocks. If you are trading in anything dealing with money and finances, maybe not do it this day because there's going to be a rush, and this planet is retrograding. So it's always expect the unexpected with this. It's opposing your harmony, your relationships, what you naturally attract, your finances, your aesthetics, friendships, female, team. That is what Venus represents. If we're talking about the body, you are talking about the uterus when it comes to Venus. So all these things happen also with this water aspect, and then you're dealing with this one earth energy. So Mercury stations direct in Scorpio. You're talking about all the past memories, all the secrets, unfinished conversations, the taboo topics, because Scorpio represents things that are very taboo. Your intuition, all the shadow patterns start to work. Okay. You get emotional truth, you get clarity, you get closure, you have your final decision, you can sign on a dotted line. Your psychic accuracy, your intuition, what you feel your gut is saying starts to really work. Someone starts to tell you the truth. You understand someone's motives. There's clarity around money, sex, intimacy, power dynamics. People who are obsessed with you, you can probably say, you know what? You're obsessed with me. This doesn't work. You're resolving some misunderstandings. Again, your intuition is strong. It's working. There's a final emotional purge. Mercury in Scorpio makes me think of the Eight of Cups, when you decide to finally walk away what no longer serves you. There's an aha moment. The truth will set you free kind of energy is what you get with that Mercury in Scorpio, and now it's not retrograding. So take advantage of that. But just still at the same time, that 29 degrees will be a stronger energy. So get ready for that. Let me see what else we have. Oh, I do want you to understand that this is making a minor triangle here. This here, Neptune 29 degrees. We have Uranus 29 degrees. These two planets are retrograding, and we have Venus at 29 degrees. So you do have one opposition. You have one trine. The trine is a blessing. So Venus is trining Neptune. So this is a blessing, harmony, compassion. All that is going to really work really well. The sextile is working if you work with it. And that's positive, but this opposition is going to be very interesting. Okay. So it's not like a full kite. It's just like a small kite, a minor triangle, and it has a small talent triangle. It's a mini kite pattern. Okay. So this is what you have here. And we have the moon in Aries that day too. So the emotions are very fiery, very protective at the same time. So, but this could be an emotional breakthrough or a spiritual breakthrough. That Venus and Uranus opposing, there's shock, awakening, and sudden truth, right? Now with the trine, there's healing. And at the same time, there's a spiritual release that could be happening. So tension, there's some revelations, and there's healing. Okay. But that Uranus is expected, unexpected every time. Now, Uranus also represents flying. So I don't know if you're flying back home, you could expect some issues with flying, but it messes up your harmony. So just go with the flow. Okay. If your flight gets delayed, just let it be. Now, flying when it comes to Taurus is going to be things that you value. So there could be an issue with that. And it's like, you don't want to change this, or you always fly Delta. And now you have to fly with America. And it's like, I was stuck in the way that I was doing things. So there could be something that is happening there. So emotional awakening pattern is what you get. Let me see. 29 degrees, I said, is really strong. Emotional shockwaves, unexpected news. Um, yeah, so just know that Venus is usually gentle and it's a benefic planet. So usually when you have a benefic planet, things are not that negative. However, I've learned that 29 degrees is stronger. So there is going to be something far as like relationships or finances. And just get ready for that unexpectedness. And it's like you can't pretend anymore. Okay. You have to, this shock is going to wake you up. This sudden of something is going to wake you up. Yeah. So that's what you have. Let me see. Mercury going direct, right? So the truth comes out. You see clarity. Venus opposing Uranus. This is big this week. I mean, towards the end of the month, there's emotional breakthrough is going to hit. There's something that's going to shock you. The pattern that you normally have changes. Okay. And then that Venus trining, that Neptune is some emotional and spirituality with your harmony. And there's healing, there's releasing, yeah, in a relationship. So you do have all that energy. Okay. This is going to affect your relationships, friendships, money. All that could be affected with this by the end of this month. So get ready for that. Also, to that Neptune and Pisces is illusions. And the illusions, you can see through it. There's clarity here. Usually the illusions are like delulu, but because Neptune's retrograding, there is no delusion. You can see, but besides the fog, maybe even a relationship too. Now on November 30th, then that's when this planet changes. Venus will enter Sagittarius, okay? And when it enters Sagittarius, it's at 0 degrees. It's no longer at that 29 degree. So it kind of moves fast. And then now you have this energy on the 30th, whatever happened on the 29th, that was on the 29th. Now Venus is spontaneous. So this is the energy of partying with friends, because Venus also represents the social aspect. So it represents the parties. And now you're adventurous. Now you're like, I can do it all. Let's do it all with a group of women. You're very optimistic. You're excited. There's movement. I'm attending a party where we're hiking. While Venus is in Sagittarius is very fitting for that, but there's new possibilities. There's truth, honesty, a desire for freedom. Sagittarius likes to expand beyond the world, maybe even traveling with some girlfriends. Restored faith, because that Sagittarius is dealing with religion and philosophy. Okay, so more laughter, more playing, more spontaneous dates, flirting, a lot of talks and discussions. Maybe you're even vlogging, because that vlogging your relationships, because that Sagittarius likes to put things, publish things. Okay, honesty over pretense. A lot of travel plans. You want to be authentic. Sagittarius energy is very truthful in relationships. Things are more lighter. You're more open. You're more philosophical within your friendships. A lot of big money ideas could be attracting it. Bold decisions. Yeah, entrepreneurial. That fire sign likes to be independent. So a lot of that when it comes to relationships, collectively we'll be more optimistic, we'll be more open, we'll be more curious. This is going to be a lot of discussions about our allies within America. If you live in America, it doesn't have to be America, but any country. This is about your allies from other countries, not just what's happening in your country. Traveling a lot of writers, a lot of YouTubers use this transit in a positive way, because now you're attracting things. So teachers, higher learning, also to astrology. Sagittarius represents astrology, naturally attracting thing. Yeah, so bosses, leaders, entrepreneurs, creators, anyone with a message. All fire signs like to be very passionate and they like to motivate. And now you're doing it with a group or a bunch of females or at a party or at a social event, or you're naturally attracting that. This is great for writers too, who are trying to publish things. Okay. Negative things, when Venus has any negative aspects with Venus in Sagittarius, then everything that I said is the opposite, right? So you could deal with people, you could deal with the energy of not being optimistic. It could be pessimistic, or maybe you're overly committed. And when it comes to socializing, or you're over adventurous, okay? You're too adventurous and you're being a little messy, a little clumsy when it comes to details, because Sagittarius likes to think of the big picture, not the small picture. Yeah, so I will go over all the transits of Venus and Sagittarius alone, but I wanted you to understand what is happening at 0 degrees. Is going to be very strong, so everyone's going to be so happy. I don't see any negative aspects with this. Here is getting close to the sun, so there'll be a lot of highlight of female relationships. That's positive when it comes to Venus. But yeah, that is what we have for the end of the month. Let me pull some cards for you guys, and let's see what we have for you for the rest of this week. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone. And we who's excited about next year? I am. Okay, so for the first part, we have the 10 of Wands in reverse, and this is what we have for you watching for the end of the month. We have 10 of Wands usually is like a heavy load, and you're climbing a mountain, and it's like, oh, I feel so burdened. When it's in reverse, it's positive, right? There's some dedication, there's breakthroughs, there is a releasing, there's freedom, there's a freedom of saying no. The load is being lifted, it's not so heavy anymore. There is that end of the journey, and there's releasing of something. Okay, let me see what else we have for you guys, okay, who's watching this. We also have a lot of reverses, which is probably all those retrograde planets. The Hierophant in reverse, and the Hierophant is at Uranus in Taurus. The Hierophant represents Taurus, and now it's in reverse. And there is this energy of change, and you don't like to change, or maybe you're not committed, or maybe there's a challenge when it comes to your beliefs and your authority. This is originality. This is also a rebellion of some sort. Maybe there's a new method happening for you. So be aware of that. Be okay with that. Taurus doesn't like change. It likes traditions. It doesn't want to conform. And now it has to change. Okay. So that is what we have for you, for the collective, for the world. What do we have? Again, all the cards are in reverse. And whenever I turn a deck, it still would be in reverse. We have the 4 of Wands. This is lack of stability, lack of community. This is the energy of changing the structure of home, arguments. It makes me think that the world's going to feel like it's not stable, like it's not committed to its roots. So let's see what that looks like. Let me add another card for that. Knight of Cups. This is something to change. There's instability with relationships. It could be worldwide here. That is definitely that Venus, but there is some issues, either law or government with law, or some harmony and balance, or relationships, and there's some instability. It's not stable. So that's what we have for the rest of November, for the collective, for the government, for the news. Yeah, let's see how that plays out. And then lastly, what is the tip of the month? And I said 8 of Cups is what this reminds me of, that Scorpio energy. And here is the card to prove me right. In the upright, walk away from what no longer serves you. You're moving on. This is like a minor eclipse. You're changing, and God is changing the direction where you're going. You're going over here. Usually there's a mountain in this card. So there's some challenges when you decide emotionally to change the shift, unfulfilled from your current situation. So you abandon it. You're walking away, walking into the unknown. There's releasing, there's letting go, there's searching for the truth. But most importantly, there's leaving and letting that toxic energy be released. Okay. So that is what we have. And that's what you should focus on. That is the tip. I love to explain the tarot that I forget, like, what am I even saying? And anyway, so that is what we have. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys at for December's forecast. And I should do horoscopes for December. So I'm going to probably bring that back. All right. So I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye bye.